ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। We shall chant chapter 4 of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, verses 1 to 5.
श्रीभगवानुवाच इमं विवस्वते योगं प्रोक्तवानहमव्ययम् विवस्वान्मनवे प्राह मनुरिक्ष्वाकवे ब्रवीत् एवं परम्परा प्राप्तम् इमं राजर्षयो विदुः सकाले नेह महता योगो नष्टः परं तप स एवायं मया तेद्य योगः प्रोक्तः पुरातनः भक्तोऽसि मे सखा चेति रहस्यं ह्येतदुत्तमम्। अर्जुन उवाच अपरं भवतो जन्म परं जन्म विवस्वतः कथमेतद्विजानीयाम् त्वमादौ प्रोक्तवानिति। श्रीभगवानुवाच बहूनि मे व्यतीतानि जन्मानि तव चार्जुन तान्यहं वेद सर्वाणि न त्वं वेत्त परं तप।
We are studying chapter 4 of Srimad Bhagavad Gita now. And in this we have covered up to shloka number 3 in our previous classes. This chapter begins with Sri Krishna talking to Arjuna, telling him that this knowledge that I imparted to you, Arjuna, in chapter 2 and 3, entitled as Sankhya Yoga, the yoga of knowledge, and Karma Yoga, the yoga of action, put together is the complete knowledge. Actually speaking, the entire Gita is over. Whatever Sri Krishna wanted to say, he is conveyed in these chapters, but he is only elaborating it in the rest of the chapters. So he said, whatever I imparted to you in chapter 2 and 3 is imperishable knowledge. It is the knowledge that is talking about that imperishable consciousness in you, which is your original nature. It is the knowledge of yourself. It is eternal. It is imperishable. All other knowledges are about the perishable materialistic world. And therefore, he says, this knowledge which I imparted to you is imperishable, and that knowledge was imparted to Vivaswan by me. Vivaswan referring to Sun God, the very first being. And Vivaswan gave it to his son Manu. Manu gave it to his son Ikshvaku. So he is referring to the Guru Shishya Parampara, father-son lineage of passing on this knowledge traditionally. We said knowledge can either be gained through Pratyaksha Pramana, direct perception, or Anumana, inference, or Upama, comparison, or it has to be passed on traditionally, especially when the knowledge that needs to be passed on is very subtle. Subtle means something that is more pervasive. It is that which controls the gross. So, the gross equipments cannot grasp the subtle. If something is very, very gross, it can be perceived. It can be acquired through our action. If it is slightly subtle and it's at the level of emotion, you can feel it. You may not see it, but you can feel it. But that is also something that can be contacted by your mind. The emotions can feel it. But when you come to certain intellectual concepts which are much deeper, it can only be grasped through intellect, not by mind. But this Atma, the pure consciousness, is even subtler than the intellect. It cannot be contacted by the body, mind, and intellect. So, therefore, it is the subtlest. And it being the subtlest, it is not known to everybody and anybody. Very rarely somebody may know it. It's a very rare knowledge. Hence, he calls it as supreme knowledge. It is supreme because it is very rare. In the sense, what he's trying to say is, very rarely somebody knows about themselves. We all know about many other things externally. We know about our body. We know about our mind. We know about our intellect. We may know many things externally. You may be an expert in even artificial intelligence. But you remain ignorant about your true self, true nature. So therefore, this knowledge is very rare. It is the subtlest. It is a great secret, supreme secret. And even if somebody realizes the truth, there is no way a communication is possible between the unconditioned and the conditioned. We are all individuals conditioned by the body, mind, and intellect, perceptions, actions, emotions, and thoughts. Whereas the one who has realized the self, who has known the truth, has gone beyond the body, mind, intellect, has dropped all the conditionings, has gone beyond all the conditionings. That unconditioned person, even though he or she wants to communicate this knowledge, it is impossible to really communicate this knowledge to the conditioned fellow, because he's going to try to understand it with the body, mind, intellect. So therefore, it remains a secret always. And this knowledge was valued in the past. I mentioned to you, this is essential knowledge. All other knowledges are important knowledge, whereas this is essential knowledge. If you know other knowledge, it will help you to survive in the world. If you gain this knowledge, you begin to live your life. You begin to live moment to moment. You begin to register every perception. You'll be dynamic in every action. You'll be balanced in your emotions. You will be clear in your thoughts. This is the benefit this knowledge can give. And this, above all, makes you objective. So that whatever may be the setup, it doesn't upset you. Hence, it is called as the supreme knowledge, essential knowledge that needs to be gained. And this knowledge, I gave it to you today. This was given to Vivaswan by me in the past, and that same knowledge, I gave it to you. And what did Vivaswan do? He did tapas with this knowledge. He was qualified to gain this knowledge, and he did more tapas. He did a lot of questioning and reflecting, and then imbibed this knowledge, and then he passed it on to his son Manu. Manu did the same thing, and he passed it on to Ikshwaku. People understood its value, and they passed it on traditionally. But in between, what happened? People got involved in the materialistic realm, in the routine mechanical existence. You know, Survival itself has taken over everything. It's become so important. If you see 8 hours to 9 hours, we sleep. Some people sleep even 10 hours. But minimum 8 hours, average, everybody is sleeping. And then rest of the time is all spent in just in this game of survival. Hardly anybody is gaining this knowledge, having any importance to this knowledge, understanding its value. So therefore, he says this knowledge is lost. And today I gave it to you. Why did I give it to you? Because you are a devotee and you are a friend. Bhaktosi me sakacheti. He says, you are a bhakta and you are also a friend. To gain this knowledge, you need to be qualified. And he gives two important qualifications called as bhakti and friendship. Bhakti, bhakta, devotion means surrender. That is real bhakti. In today's context, bhakti, that is also practiced out of ego. I sing bhajans loudly so that my neighborhood understands that I'm a great bhakta of some god. I disturb my neighborhood. What kind of bhakti is this? Bhakti means, it simply means sublimation of ego. You understand? It simply means surrendering the ego. Understanding that this body, mind, intellect complex, which has been given this name, which I refer to as myself, is limited. And that consciousness which enlivens everything is unlimited, infinite, which is my original nature, fine. But right now, my identification is with this limited individual. I need to dissolve and become one with the total. So, with this knowledge, with this understanding, I surrender this ego. It is nothing but sublimation. You understand? Sublimation of ego. That is bhakti. In fact, bhakti and love are one and the same. We use the word love when it is used in the realm of the world. You understand? You say, I love my children, something lower than you. I love my children. I love my friends. I love my neighborhood. When it comes to God, you say, I am devoted to God. I'm devoted to my parents. I'm devoted to my work. Something higher when you identify, you use the word bhakti. So bhakti means surrender. In the area of ignorance, we must surrender our ego. You understand? We must surrender. When we say we must surrender, what we mean is we must surrender our mind and not the buddhi. The buddhi understands its limitation, wants to gain the knowledge, and surrenders to a person who knows. And being alert absorbs the knowledge with questioning and understands it. That is called bhakti. So that bhakti, Arjuna, you have. You are a devotee. And also you are a friend. Friend in the sense you have tremendous trust in me. That's very important to gain this knowledge. To be able to bring about the transformation. To bring about the transformation, you need trust because you need to practice this knowledge. Otherwise, why would you put it into practice? See, simply to gain the intelligence, to conduct this class, you don't need to be a friend. If you just attend a class, you're a little smart, you'll understand the concept, and if you have the gift of the gab, you'll probably communicate better. You understand? But that doesn't mean you have imbibed the knowledge. You have imbibed the knowledge only when you have brought about the transformation. Please understand that. So for that transformation to happen, to cross over the boundary of the limitations of ego and gain the totality, you need to have the trust and faith to jump into that divinity. To be ready to give up the ego. I don't know how many of you know this language Telugu. In a kingdom which was ruled by a Telugu king, he asked his subjects. Is there anyone here in this congregation who can go to Brahman, who can get to Brahman? In Telugu, he asked, for which one person only answered. He said, Nenu pote povachuno. Nenu pote povachuno means, I may go. Very loosely if you translate it, I may go. But actually what he's trying to say is, Nenu means I, me. Pote means if the I and me goes, we can get there. Povachanu. So when the when the I and me is clean dropped, you get there. So to drop that I and me, you need that tremendous devotion and trust. It's not easy. To give yourself away, to give everything away, is not easy. So you may do a lot of dhanam, gifts you may distribute. You may distribute a lot of gifts and gain punya. It's even more difficult to give away your punya. And it is even relatively easy to give away your punya. Can you give away your I and me? Even after you give things to people, you will say, that thing that person is using was given by me. Isn't it? The possessiveness still lingers. You see, people have donated a lot of things to many temples and other places, but they would like to emphasize that this was given by me. So they would request, please put our name there, donated by so and so. You understand? To completely obliterate the little self, to dissolve the little self in the total, that is absolute bhakti. And Arjuna, you have that bhakti. You said it to me. That surrender, which Arjuna surrendered in verse number 7 of chapter 2, is complete. He says, Karpanya dosha upahata swabhavaha prichami tvam dharma sammoda chetaha yashreyasya nishchitam bruhitan me sishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam. I completely surrender. I would like to know what is dharma. I'm ready to surrender. It's not easy. See, a person who everybody is looking up to is saying, I don't know, please teach me. That humility is necessary. So Sri Krishna says, since you have these qualities, I imparted this knowledge to you today. Now when Arjuna heard this from Sri Krishna, he gets a doubt. So he's questioning Sri Krishna in verse number 4. And then in 5 onwards, Sri Krishna answers that question. That is how this chapter proceeds. So now let's get on to verse number 4.
Arjuna uvacha aparam bhavato janma param janma vivasvataha kathametadvijaniyam tvamadau proktavaniti.
Arjuna is asking Sri Krishna, aparam bhavato janma param janma vivasvataha. See, Sri Krishna said, I gave this knowledge to Vivaswan. And who is Vivaswan? Sun God, the first being in creation. I gave it to that first being in creation, he says, and then he says, that very same knowledge, I just gave it to you. So Arjuna gets this confusion. He's asking, later was your birth, earlier the birth of Vivaswan. Bhavataha means you. Aparam bhavato janmaha. Later was your birth. Param janma vivasvataha. Vivaswan's birth is earlier. long time ago. Now, here is where you can see Arjuna's devotion clearly. He is not telling Sri Krishna, what are you blabbering? Huh? You are saying you gave it to Vivaswan and you gave it to me now. I know your age. We both are almost equal age, same age, we are friends. Huh? So what are you blabbering, man? He's not asking like that. See the devotion. He's saying, how then am I to understand? So definitely there is some gap here in my understanding. I'm not able to conceive. There is something deep that you are trying to convey. So I don't want to miss it out. How then am I to understand that? Right, that's what he's saying. Aparam bhavato janma param janma vivasvata katametad vijaniya umadau proktavaniti. How am I to understand that you taught this in the beginning? He beautifully is asking Sri Krishna that how am I to understand this statement of yours that you gave it to Vivaswan and you gave that knowledge to me today. So, because your date of birth I know, we both are very good friends and related. And how am I to understand? Obviously, you are not referring to the body identification here. Something very deep. You understand? So this is Arjuna's question. How am I to understand? See, this is very important. The way you handle things when you have the right attitude. You may have intelligence. How do you handle it? That is actually very important knowledge. To have that right attitude. That cannot be taught. You understand? It's not easy. You may have the skill. In fact, even before, when both the Pandavas and Kauravas were seeking the help of Krishna, both Duryodhana and Arjuna go to Sri Krishna. And Sri Krishna wanted to be on the side of Dharma. And he knows these two fellows are coming. So he's pretending as if he is lying down and sleeping. And Arjuna comes and he stands next to Sri Krishna's feet, waiting for him to wake up, get up. Duryodhana comes and he straight goes and stands next to Krishna's head. And Sri Krishna opens his eyes and sees Arjuna first. He says, oh, Arjuna, you've come, welcome. And then he says, oh, Duryodhana, you also come. Very good, very good. What can I do for both of you? And then he says, I saw Arjuna first. And Arjuna is younger than you. So let me ask him what he wants. I offer, both of them said, we want you both. We want you to fight on our side. He said, how is it possible? So I'll give you options. One is, I will fight on one side without any weapons. On the other side, my entire army will be there with all the weapons of mass destruction. WMD. You understand? All weapons of mass destruction will be there. You can choose either of them, and I'll give this option first to Arjuna to choose. And Arjuna says, listen, Sri Krishna, all I want is just you. You just be with me. You understand? I don't need your weapons or anything. I need only you. And Duryodhana is very happy. You understand? He always valued the material things. Arjuna valued the spiritual. You understand? So, even there you can see clearly, it is not just because of Arjuna's skill and all that they won the battle. It's because of the right attitude. Please understand that. It is very, very important. Where there is Vidya, there has to be Vinaya. Wherever there is knowledge, there has to be humility. So with all the humility, Arjuna is asking, how am I to understand this? Your date of birth is recent. You were born and you and me are the same age, almost. You gave it to me, I understand. When you say that you gave it to Vivaswan, the sun god, how am I to understand? Something is missing here. Very deep. So please tell me how to understand. That's why I quoted in one of the classes. You remember in Tamil, in one of the scriptures, he says, Avanarulale avantal panindu. Avanarulale avantal panindu means, by the grace of the Lord, you surrender to the Lord. Even to get this thought that every Sunday I must talk on Gita or I must study Gita, I must listen to Gita, I need the grace of the Lord. And just about the time, the class begins, a thought may come. Next week onwards, I'll start. Today, I will do this. Or somebody else may phone and say, "Arey, this thing has come up. Please come with me." And you may say, "Okay, I'll go with it next week." Some grace has to be there for us to be in it when there is a lot of other distractions possible in this world. You understand? So that devotion very clearly Arjuna exhibits here when he says, how am I to understand? Katametat vijaniyam. How to understand this? Obviously, it cannot be with reference to this body. Then it is at a deeper level, you are saying something. So please explain. This is Arjuna's question. How am I to understand this? Then let's get on to next shloka, where Sri Krishna starts answering Arjuna's question. He clarifies.
श्रीभगवानुवाच बहूनि मे व्यतीतानि जन्मानि तव चार्जुन तान्यहं वेद सर्वाणि न त्वं वेत्त परं तप.
Sri Bhagavan Vacha, the Blessed Lord said, Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tavacharjuna. Many births of mine and yours have passed by, O Arjuna. I know them all, while you know not, O Parantapa. Sri Krishna is referring to Arjuna as Parantapa. Very often you will hear this name. See, this itself is very beautiful. Sri Krishna refers to Arjuna with many different names. And Arjuna also refers to Sri Krishna with many different names. It shows a lot of love between the two of them. You understand? In that beautiful emotion, the knowledge is being conveyed here. The conversation is happening. So, Sri Krishna is calling Arjuna as Parantapa, scorcher of force. O Arjuna, many lives of yours and mine have gone by. Many births of mine and yours have gone by. O Arjuna, I know them all, while you know not, O Parantapa. So now, in this question of Arjuna's and Sri Krishna's answer, this concept of avatara is introduced. This is very important to understand. This very word avatara means what? Avatarati iti avatara. That which descends, that which comes down. You understand? This is called avatara. Avatara means avatarati iti avatara, that which descends, that which comes down. So that consciousness has come down. That's what it means. See, this coming down is different from falling down. Please understand this. We are all fallen cases. You understand? Whereas Bhagavan, we don't use the word fallen. We use the word coming down. What is the difference? Take this example of a person talking on the phone and trying to cross the road. And is in some other world while he's talking and crossing. And for some road work, they have dug up a little bit in between on the road. He's not obviously seen it. And you are walking behind him, let's say 10 meters behind him. He's talking on the phone, looking at the sky and walking and crossing the road, and he falls into that pit which is dug up. You understand? Let's say it's a 5 feet or 6 feet pit. He's fallen into that. You are seeing that because you are working consciously. Before you could warn him, he is fallen down. And you see that nobody else is there. And you quickly, you understand, out of compassion, you may get down to help him out, to help him to get out. Isn't it? Now, you say that person fell down and you consciously got down. There's a difference. Isn't it? One fellow falling down, other fellow consciously coming down, going down. So, obviously, this knowledge, whoever is unconditioned, they out of compassion to people who are conditioned, they can remain in that unconditioned state, but they cannot because of that awareness and compassion to the other beings who are not knowing the truth and identifying with this body, mind, intellect complex and therefore suffering. Seeing that out of compassion, they come down to their level and communicate this knowledge. Please understand this. So, everyone who's realized the self, the enlightened souls who identify with the consciousness alone, not with the body, mind, intellect, they out of compassion come down to our level and communicate this knowledge to help us to get to the self. That's why Sri Krishna's one of the name is what? Achyuta. Achyuta means one who is never fallen, one who is always in that state of turiya, pure consciousness. So, here when Sri Krishna says, I, or for that matter, any realized soul, Jesus Christ, or whoever it is, any realized souls, when they use the word I, they mean consciousness, the pure consciousness, Atma, not the body, mind, intellect complex. We mean this body, mind, intellect complex. They mean the pure consciousness. So, what Sri Krishna is saying when he said, I gave it to Vivaswan, meaning the pure consciousness gave it to Vivaswan in the past through some other body maybe. You understand? The body could have been different. The guru could have been different. But the consciousness is same. Are you with me? See, you, me and all of us are referred as conditioned individuals. We are conditioned by this body. We are conditioned by this mind. We are conditioned by this intellect. We are conditioned by this sex, caste, color, community, everything. Whereas those people who enlighten, who have realized the self, they've gone beyond the caste, creed, color, community, sex, etc. They are not identifying with the body. Like they say, I am a male or a female. They say, I am beyond the body, beyond the male and female. In fact, the word Purusha, you understand? When you say Purusha, Puri means city. Isha, the Lord who resides in the city. The city of the physical body is referred as a city, let us say. In fact, he says in one of the chapters, Navadware Pure Dehi. This city has 9 holes. This body has 9 holes. It's called Navadwara Puri. So this Navadwara Puri is different for a woman slightly, for a man it's slightly different. But the Isha, the consciousness residing in these two cities are the same. So the Purusha in the male, the Purusha in the female is the same. Do you get it? This body, which is now manifested as female or male, is called Prakriti. Okay. And Purusha, the consciousness, is the same, one and the same. So when Sri Krishna talks, he's talking as consciousness. That consciousness is the same that enlivened the beings of the past. It is the same that enlivens the beings in the present. It is the same that will enliven the beings in future. Whereas you, me, and every one of us here, we are conditioned not only by body, mind, intellect, by time, space, and causation as well. So therefore, we are all only, what do you call, having access to this particular period. No access to the past or the future. But the consciousness being the same, it is that which enliven the beings of the past. It is that which enlivens the beings in the present. It is that which enlivens the beings in future. Therefore, it is the consciousness that gave to Vivaswan. It is the same consciousness that gave to Arjuna today, manifesting through the body of Sri Krishna. Is this clear? So obviously, Sri Krishna is not talking about Mr. Krishna gave it to Vivaswan. You understand? It was not Mr. Krishna who gave it to Vivaswan. It is pure consciousness that communicated the knowledge to Vivaswan, and the same consciousness communicated this knowledge to Arjuna through different body, mind, intellect complex. That changes. So therefore, who is the teacher? The real teacher is only Atma. Only consciousness can communicate the consciousness. Only God can communicate it. That's why we say the real Guru is Bhagavan. This knowledge is attributed to Bhagavan, not to any individual. When the individual surrenders the ego and dissolves the individuality in the total indivisible reality, the reality speaks through that personality. In the invocation to Bhagavad Gita, Swami Madhusudana Saraswati, in shloka number 8, this invocation is called Dhyana Shlokas. In fact, we had lectured on the Dhyana Shlokas also. Very interesting 9 shlokas are there. The invocation to Bhagavad Gita. And it is all there in YouTube channel, Vedanta Rishi Rina. You can go to our channel, Vedanta Rishi Rina, and listen to those talks. So in the 8th shloka, he says, Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripa tamaham vande paramanandamadavam. Mukam karoti vachalam means what? It makes the mute speak eloquently. Pangum langayate girim. It makes the lame scale the mountain. How is this possible? And he says, it makes the mute speak eloquently. See, when you gain this knowledge, you stop identifying with all the limitations. You identify with that unlimited pure consciousness. Many years ago, somebody gave me a book, and I think the title of the book was My Foot. See, it is about a person who was born with no hands, no legs. Sorry, no hands, only legs, only feet, no hands. And he grew up to be a great painter. He's holding the painting brush with his toes and he's painting, and he's brought about excellent paintings. Now we have hands, everything functioning normally, using the hands and the scale, not able to draw straight line. That is our condition today. Whereas he has no hands, just using the feet, he holds on the brush and has brought about beautiful paintings. How is that possible? Because he did not identify with the limiting factors. He identified with the potential, which is infinite. And that infinite potential is in you, in me, and all of us. And this knowledge makes you tap that infinite potential. You understand? You don't identify with any of these limiting factors. And that's why it's possible. Therefore, he says, it makes the mute speak eloquently, makes the lame scale the mountain. It makes you dynamic. So that pure consciousness, when a person completely surrenders, functions through that person. It speaks through that person. We know the story of Kalidasa. You understand? Kalidasa was born extremely ignorant, dull-headed. Later on, he became a great Kavi. Right? How was that possible? So, all these stories are trying to convey only one thing. What? This knowledge is apaurusham. Apaurusham means beyond the human effort. When the human has surrendered the ego, the divinity passes on this knowledge through the individual. And that's why he calls it as ancient. It is Veda Dwara. So it is Bhagavan who spoke through the Vedas, and all the gurus who surrendered their ego completely and got enlightened. It is Bhagavan who spoke through them. So it is Bhagavan who spoke to Vivaswan. It is the same Bhagavan speaking to Arjuna. You understand? So therefore he says, it is the consciousness that conveyed. Many janmas happens. Many people come and go. Many births come. And many deaths happen. You understand? Everybody is born, everybody dies. It happens, it goes on. But the consciousness is never born. The consciousness never dies. It is beyond birth and death. So many births of mine and years have passed by, Arjuna. I know them all. I, as consciousness, knows them all. While you, who's you? Arjuna, the body mind intellect complex, the limited individual who is conditioned. He only has access to the present. You understand? I do not know as an individual, but as an indivisible, I know. The indivisible I knows. The individual I does not know. Please understand the difference. I repeat, the indivisible I knows the past, present, and future. The individual I does not know, because the individual I is conditioned I. Do you understand? That conditioned I has access only to this birth. It has no access to the past and future. So therefore, as consciousness, I am saying, I know them all, while you know not, O Parantapa, O scorcher of foes. You have the capacity, Arjuna, to remove this enemy, this bondage, these limiting factors. You understand? We grow up listening to stories and we develop a lot of beliefs about ourselves. And along with that, we have got a lot of fear. All these limit us. We need to become free from all these conditionings. You know, when a child paints something, draws a picture on the white paper, takes a pencil and just does something, and then says, I have drawn lion. And you see there, it doesn't even look like a dog. But the child is saying lion. And you're saying, what? Lion? What lion is this? Have you seen lion? You don't know how to draw. You're useless. You can't draw. You can't draw. So the child goes on listening to this. I can't draw. I can't draw. I can't draw. And it never draws, never paints, never sketches. Beliefs control us. Beliefs restrict us. We've all grown up with what? Oh, you've put on weight. Oh, you've lost weight. Oh, your hair has turned grey. Please color it. You should look young. You understand? Because your identification is still with the body. So you want to look young. Huh? Wasn't Mother Teresa beautiful? Even at that old age? Huh? Yeah. No. I identify with my body. And I will limit myself. And I'll take pride in that. You understand? So I limit myself. I am conditioned. And when I'm conditioned, what comes out of me also will be conditioned and limited. When I refuse to identify with caste, creed, color, community, and sex, nothing can stop me. You know, when Mirabai, apparently while she was transiting from one city to another city, she wanted to go to an ashram which was in the neighborhood there, wherever she went. And they didn't allow her inside. They said, no, here you cannot come. Because only Purushas will stay here. What their meaning is, only men are allowed to stay. Women is not allowed. Women are not allowed. Then she said, Acha, when did you or your guru become a Purusha? Because I thought only Lord Krishna is the Purusha. Only consciousness is Purusha. When did you or your guru become the Purusha? The guru came running, fell at her feet and said, please come in. Because everything else is Prakriti. Why you want to identify with Prakriti and limit yourself? When you have the potential to identify with the Purusha, you understand? So therefore, here Sri Krishna is identifying with that consciousness and speaking. And because he's realized, he's enlightened. Now, therefore he says, I know them all, while you know not, O Parantapa, O scorcher of foes. You have scorched many enemies on the battlefield in life. Now you have to fight this battle within. All these limiting factors, these conditionings, so many things that we have heard from the past at all levels. Even in religious angle, many things we have heard which is conditioning us. Very interesting story Swamiji gives in the book Vedanta Treatise. I don't know whether in the present edition that story is still there. See, he's talking about two children being born on the same day in a hospital, the same hospital, to different parents. And they were by mistake exchanged in the cradle. By mistake. And one is a ardent Christian family, the ardent Christian parents. Other is ardent Hindu parents. And they are exchanged by mistake. So the Hindu child is growing up in a Christian family, brought up as ardent Christian, preaching Bible. Here, Hindu child growing up in Christian family, preaching Bible. And there the converse. Christian child growing up as Hindu, learning Gita and preaching Gita. And each of them swearing by it. You understand? It is all like that conditioning. It's all conditioning. The same truth is being declared by all the masters to different set of people in a different way. But unfortunately, we get conditioned and we fight with each other. with each religion, because we allow the religion to condition us. Even the interpretation of the Gita, we allow these interpretations to condition us. Advaita, Dvaita, Vishishtadvaita. So many schools of thoughts are there. You're not supposed to be conditioned by any one of them. Ultimate goal is to become absolutely unconditioned. Lord Hanumanji, in Ramayana, he says, Deha bhave dasosmi, jiva bhave twadamshakaha, atma bhave tvameva aham. He's telling this to Lord Ram. Deha bhave dasosmi. When I identify with my body, I'm your servant. Deha bhave dasosmi. Jiva bhave twadamshakaha. When I identify with my mind and intellect, I am part of you. Atma bhave tvameva aham. From the point of view of Atma, tvameva aham. I am you, you are me. There is no difference. You understand? So when we really understand this knowledge, how can we allow any caste or creed or community or religion to restrict us? Impossible. That's what he's saying. I know them all while you know not. O Parantapa, O Arjuna, you have scorched many enemies on the battlefield. Now you have to scorch these enemies, these limiting factors, these limiting belief systems. So this is what I'm trying to communicate. Because he said, no, Arjuna asked, Katametad Vijaniya. How am I to understand? Please understand that I am talking as consciousness here. Ishvara, not as Mr. Krishna, the personality. So therefore, he says, many births of mine and years have passed by, O Arjuna. I know them all, while you know not, O Parantapa. What was Arjuna's question? Vivaswan was born many years ago. You are born just now. How am I to understand that you gave it to Vivaswan? So he's clarifying. He's saying, when I said I gave it to Vivaswan, the consciousness gave it to Vivaswan. And when I say I gave it to you, again I meant the consciousness gave it to you. The consciousness is one and the same. The personalities through which it was communicated may be different. Here it is Mr. Krishna, there it could have been somebody else. But it is none other than the divinity communicating the truth. That is why this topic here, from verse number 1 to 10, if you see, Swamiji has given the title as what? Self is the teacher. The eternal teacher. The one who teaches this knowledge is Atma only. That's why I said in the class that to the extent you unfold the self, to that extent you can communicate the self. Only the self can communicate the self. Nobody else can do it. It's not the personality. So therefore, this is, in fact, there's a lot more to discuss in these shlokas. This avatara concept, how Adi Shankara explains, we'll see that. That I will talk from that angle next week, right? So today I didn't present from that angle at all. I only presented this from a, you might be having Swamiji's book, and Swamiji presents it this way. And this is very interesting and deep understanding of this concept of avatar. A lot of people, all kinds of meanings are brought about for avatar. So arguing, fighting, understand this. It is the consciousness that comes down with compassion and communicates. And wherever there is demand, there will be communication. Next week, the same shloka from a different angle, meaning how in the Shastra this concept of avatara is presented by Shankaracharya, etc. We will talk. Now let's conclude the class. Om. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti
Shanti.